Broccoli is one of the most popular vegetables. You can see it a lot everywhere in restaurants and in cafes as well as at home. It is a great source of vitamin C. It has 150% of our vitamin C when we eat one serving. So it's really nutritious. This is like a perfect little bunch of broccoli. You see how tightly the little heads are? All the little buds are still there. They're tightly closed. And as you can see, they're made of a bunch of little trees, as a lot of people call them, a lot of little trees. Now, some people don't eat the leaves, but they're edible too. You can eat those. And you can also eat the stem. And usually the further away it is from the top, the tougher it is. And usually they have them cut pretty close to where it should be in the stores. So we're going to do the basic preparation. First thing I want to show you is that sometimes there are yellow tinges. You see these that have some yellow on them? There is a lot of sulfur in broccoli. And then when these start turning yellow, that sulfur taste starts coming out. So if there were if there's one little bunch that's got some yellow, maybe you should buy it. But I would avoid the yellow tinges. Now, sometimes they have purple. It gets so dark green that it becomes purplish in color. And that's fine. The purple is just great. And it actually turns green when you cook it. So we're going to cut this up. I want to show you how to prep one from the beginning. I'm not going to use the yellow one because I don't eat the yellow ones. Okay, so we're going to take this one because I've kind of pulled on it enough that you can see what it has. Okay, so we're going to cut off the tops. We're going to trim and cut up the stem. And then we're going to take the leaves off and we're going to put those in when we are steaming it. I prefer steaming. You can also boil, but let's get it ready first. So when we're looking at it from the side, when you lay it down, you can kind of see where those trees are. And I kind of feel like I'm harvesting the trees out of the forest here. So I just lay them down. And I kind of go down a little bit because that kind of cleans off the stem. But you could also just go, here's where most of them in. So I'm just going to cut those off. And that's what most people do, I think, because it's easier. Now when you get to the top part, they get smaller and I just pull them apart. But it's real easy to see where to do that because of the divisions. Okay. Now, you can just steam these by themselves and I'm going to go ahead and put these in the steamer. I use one of these expandable steamers because they fit all of my pots. And then I'm just going to put these here on top to have them steam. That's how easy it is to cook broccoli. I need to add my water so it's up to the tops of the legs but not touching the broccoli. Okay. Now I want to show you how to prepare the stem. You usually do need to peel it to a certain degree because the outer layer is the hardest to digest and it's very fibrous. So if you just pull in at the bottom and then pull up, it comes off pretty easily. And once you get all the way around, and if you'll notice now, the outside of that was a darker green than the inside, and now I have kind of a yellow green. That means that's pretty tender stuff. Okay, now you can slice it like this, and once you get that off, it's amazing how easy it is to slice. Or you can cut it the long way, down the way. And this one has a little bad spot, so I'd probably cut that off and not use that. But you can do them in shred. You can also shred them on a shredder, on a grater. And then you can use that even in stir fries and stuff. But don't throw this away. It has a lot of nutrition to it. It also adds another little texture. If people don't like to eat the trees, as my kids called it, they might like this part. And this is a great addition too, if you don't cook it with your broccoli, to add to stir fries or stews. It's a way to get the broccoli in there without having the trees. And some people don't like the trees in stews because the buds start falling apart. So we can put this in stir frying, I can put it in a stew, or I can just stick it right over here and steam it with the rest of it and just serve it all together. And when you throw that stem away, you are throwing away about 1/3 of your broccoli that you've paid for. So you want to use that. And that's the reason why they leave the stems on, is because they are nutritious and you can eat them. Okay, so we're going to put this on. The one thing to remember, that This has sulfur in it, so you don't want to put the lid on tightly. You want to always keep it cracked or not at all. And since I'm steaming, I need to keep some steam in. So I'm just going to crack it just a little so the steam can come out, and as you'll see, and that way that sulfur will be able to dissipate. And then it will not taste like sulfur. If you leave the lid on, it can do that. Now, the other way you can purchase broccoli is frozen. And some people don't know how to use it frozen. Now, some of it nowadays is coming in steamer bags, and you follow the directions on the back about how to steam it right in the packages. I have to say, I like to add things to my broccoli, so I don't particularly like to do this, and I usually add my broccoli to something else. But this is really handy for those nights when you need to do something quickly. If you do open the bag, and you need to just add it frozen. You don't thaw the broccoli and then use it. You add it when it's still frozen because it'll taste fresher then. Now, when you get this, when you're cooking either one, the frozen or this, don't cook it too long because all of a sudden this is going to actually be brighter green in the pan than it would be here when it gets to be cooked. And as soon as it gets to look a little brighter green, it's done, and it doesn't take very long. So it's a really quick vegetable to have, very nutritious. You can eat it raw. You can add it to salads. You can take it as a snack, raw, or you can cook it in some ways. Once you cook it, it'll keep about maybe 4 days in the refrigerator. Highly recommend the use of broccoli, and it's usually relatively inexpensive in the stores because there are a lot of places growing the broccoli, and we have a lot of broccoli come from the United States, from California. So go to my website. There are some recipes about some sauces for broccoli and other ways to cook it. The nutrition of it is on there, and that's something really important to read. It's amazing what's in some of the vegetables, and all my fact sheets have all the nutrition that's available through every fruit and vegetable that we are doing. So let's see broccoli. I know we had a president that didn't like it, but he was wrong.